So I have I have talked about flippers and I've thought about it myself. And it, I think those guys that are flippers, it's worked well for them the past few years. Now the individuals that are still in the game probably have some decent skills. That what they probably do, in my opinion, is they go to collectors, they buy up collections. Obviously, they negotiate a decent price, and once again, you're paying a huge chunk up front, and then you have to take on the risk and try to sell it. So those guys are definitely, in my opinion, entrepreneurial. Now there are definitely shady flippers as well. There's no doubt about that. And I have raised concern about those guys, but just flippers in general, I have nothing against them. I do believe that people will can always flip, but it's just probably going to get much more difficult in the coming years, in my opinion.
Oh, it could. So just so everybody knows, like I look at cards like
Yeah,
any business market, right?
yeah,
There are different people in the market that do different things, and then
hmm,
they help distribute or move product around,
right, right,
whichever it may be. So
right.
I actually have admiration for a lot of flippers. I used to work a sales job that was heavily commission based, and you had to be on the grind all the time. And if you took a day off, like, I'm not talking about like PTO, like you took a day off, like I'm just going to chill today, that could cost you thousands of dollars just
Hmm,
from having that attitude. You didn't check your email, could cost you money.
right.
You woke up late, you missed out on the opportunity. You went to a big sales call with low energy, you may cause yourself a problem 6 months from now, right? So those people who are flipping, buying cars and then selling them, I have nothing but respect for them. That is not an easy thing to do. I will say this: I believe most people in the hobby couldn't do it. Too scared to do it. So when I see somebody flying around the country and getting off a plane, I want everybody to hear this from FD. And I bumped into some of these people at different shows, right? And I even invite them on here to talk. And a lot of them are younger in age. So I don't know in the hobby sometimes if there's an age split, if people think like these people are ruining the hobby because they do something different. It's almost
No,
like when rock and roll first came out,
right, right,
music. It's like when rap and breakdancing first came out. It's
right,
not
right.
going to last. Flippers play a strong role. So do breakers in what we do with sports cars.
Yeah, I think the age difference is I'm not bashing anyone in their 20s or anyone that lives, with their family, but it's a lot easier if you're living with family
Hmm.
that way. So you tend to see more people that are younger because, over here you're in what, California, right?
Yeah, I'm in California.
Yeah.
LA.
So California, Illinois, there's high property taxes. So, if I lived in a different state, I would have more money going to sports cards.
Hmm.
So, and also I have to pay what, my own mortgage and property taxes with that.
Hmm.
So I don't have that much money to flip. I could speculate and invest in cards, and I'm not rich, but it's a lot easier, in my opinion, if those individuals are living at home and instead of paying $10,000 for rent, you have $10,000 that you could add to your inventory.
Hmm. That is
So,
true. That's all true.
yep, yep,
But I think that goes along with what people are doing.
yeah.
You know,
I'm
I
not I'm
think
not bashing those guys that are doing it. I'm just saying it's probably a little easier for those that are young and probably made a decent amount of money during the pandemic.
hmm.
That probably helped them too.
Yep, yep. I knew people when I was in school that went to New York, worked on Wall Street, stayed 3 to 4 people to an apartment.
Hmm.
Those people slept in 2 beds and made millions on Wall Street.
Yeah,
Now, one could say, I have 4 kids, I can't do that. Or I have 2 kids, I can't do that. That
right.
may be the case, but there are markets that thrive on people doing just that. And I see flippers is no different. They serve a great purpose. There are cars that move around this country
Mm-hmm.
because they flipper bought them in one city and sold them in another.
Yeah, that's a positive way of looking at it. There's no doubt about that. There's one way of
I
looking
just
at
think I know you use the word positive. That's the real way of looking at it.
it.
That's the real side, right? At least that's the way I think about it. I'm not, bro. I want you to know, man. I'm not like a rah rah. If anybody knows me,
Yeah.
right? I'm not a blow smoke kind of person. I'm not like a rah rah kind of really positive. Everything is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see nothing. I have blinders on. I'm not that person.
Mm-hmm.
But I can, from a business sense, look
Right.
at something and see what is going on here. What role? Now let's talk about breakers, right? There are some people that say, I really don't care for breakers. They're ruining the hobby. But I think breakers are good for the hobby because there are a lot of people who can't afford expensive cars that get into breaking. Now, a negative could be it creates a FOMO effect within people. But as
Yeah.
people, I just think we got to regulate ourselves. Anytime we go into a business enterprise, I
Yeah.
could eat too much McDonald's, right? I
Yeah.
could buy too much of this and can't pay my mortgage.
Right.
But if I regulate myself, I see the importance or what this section of the market actually does. What are your thoughts on flippers?
On breakers, you mean?
Excuse me, on breakers.
Yeah. So I think one good thing out of it is I think out of one of those breaks came out a scarce Mike Trout cart. And I
Mhm.
think Vegas Dave eventually had that and he sold that for millions of dollars. So if you're looking for that scarce card, breakers are good that way. And in terms of the negative, though, it could turn into an addiction and turn into gambling. I've seen people, I don't know if they've commented on your videos, but people said, hey, man, I've just spent, thousands of dollars on this break and, nothing's happening. And then, it could hurt someone's relationship. It could lead to divorce. It could, a girl could leave their guy because he's just spending way too much on breaks trying to gamble his way to make thousands of dollars. So there's the bad part of that.
Mhm.
Um, Now there are obviously shady breakers. I'm pretty sure you've heard of,
Yeah, yeah. So when I'm talking about breaking, like
yeah, you're not talking about those guys. Okay.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Just
talking
in general, I think the con could be just it becomes an addiction because they're like, hey, I could find that scarce Kaboom Tom Brady card or the scarce Trevor Lawrence card. While some people may get it, what are the odds? You know, I mean, it could be if you just want to spend a few $100 just one time just to get a thrill. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but doing it over and over and over again, I mean, there's consequences to that unless you're filthy rich.
So Michael Ham, which I respect a lot, he's always on here. Breakers are why we have more product and products so expensive. Example, a $200 box now costs 800. I can't disagree with that. I think breakers probably have a part of that. I think there are other things that have a part of that too. If prices are raised by companies on products and we don't pay for it, prices don't continue to go up. And I
Yeah,
think that's bigger than breakers.
yeah, it's supply and demand, and the demand has skyrocketed since the pandemic. So I think that's what it's all about. I wouldn't blame breakers for that. I think just breakers saw the opportunity and they said, "Hey, look, there's so much demand. We're going to charge this amount."
Mm-hmm.
And the minute, like you said, people stop going to breaks, probably in the next few years from now, prices will come down, in my opinion.
And I know
Unle-
we talked about people creating like breakers creating places where people can feel like there's a FOMO and then it becomes an addiction.
yeah,
I agree with all that, but we still know Las Vegas exists,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So that's a whole environment based upon some kind of FOMO, and you may think that you're missing out on something. But I'm the kind of person, right? I can go to Vegas and I'm good. I don't lose anything.
Right,
I'm
right.
not someone putting my rent or my mortgage on the line to try to win something. So I think a lot of people, and I've made this argument before to some people I've talked to, like personally,
Yeah,
or in a show setting.
Right.
A lot of people in the market have to show reserve for themselves, right?
Hmm.
We have to be, well, most of us that are talking on TV and talking about stuff on YouTube,
Yeah.
we're adults. So
Yeah.
we have, there's a part of that we have to be responsible for how we spend our money,
Yeah.
what we're doing with our funds. Are we investing? And then I have a lot of friends that invest in the stock market.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when I go across the road and I talk to those people, there's certain things I don't hear. You tell me if you hear this, Raul. Do you hear people talking about, I have a FOMO and I'm in credit card debt because I bought stocks?
No.
Why do you think that is, though?
I think this. I don't think they take credit cards, first of all, for depositing funds in the stock market.
Oh, but
They
you
may
can cash out cards to get money.
you
Pay for
could
stuff.
you could. There are some people that have done that. I read stories where, in 2009, someone just took out, maxed out their cards and just put in the stock market. They made tons of money. I mean, they did it, when the market was at an all-time low. But yeah, I don't hear people just maxing out their credit cards. I mean, you probably see that in this hobby, which, yeah, I never even thought of that, because yeah, people are probably going into debt doing that.
Mhm.
I think a lot of it probably happened during the pandemic boom, because there were breakers back then, but all of this stuff, people thought, hey, it's a get rich scheme. You know, I don't want to be left out, and that's why people chased, and then a lot of people got burned. And sure, there's this personal responsibility aspect. There's no doubt about that. Um, that being said, also the leaders of the hobby should talk about this, which they have to a certain degree. But if they don't talk about it, you have to remember that if they lose customers that they didn't warn in the past,
Mhm.
then they're going to actually lose more money in the long run. So it goes both ways. Yes, you are responsible for yourself, but the leaders and corporations, it is in their best interest not to dodge these issues, because it's probably going to hurt them in the future, in my opinion.
I got you. So Michael says chasing hits is a real thing. It is. I mean, I know people. There also is a gambling kind of undertone in the hobby, right? There are many people that I talk to that gamble on a regular basis outside of the hobby. So they kind of bring that same mindset to the hobby, which that's a real part of things too. Card market media said ask Drake. That's funny to me. Brendan, now whoever thought bikini models as a selling point, well, I can't complain. Chance, chasing hits is an addiction like gambling. It releases dopamines. This is a proven fact. Mervin, I miss going to Kmart and buying multiple 32-pack boxes for $35 to $45 each, late 90s. Mervin, I remember this. I mean, you could go to Kmart, you could go to Walgreens in Chicago,
Hmm.
you could go to Toys R Us. There were cars there for you. You could go to your local 7-Eleven and pick up cars back in the day. Richard, companies see how much people pay to join breaks. That's why the blaster boxes are costing $45 depending on. This is exactly right. Exactly right. Rookie car finder. I hate buying from breakers. They usually handle cars with no care. So let me just tell you this, Raul. You know how many breaks I've been in my life?
No, I don't know.
One.
Yeah,
Paid,
same here. Just
paid,
went
I
one.
paid $30. I think $30 to get in. I got a Sam Donald rookie card, patch jersey, auto.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, that's cool, and kept doing what I was doing. It's never really something that has enticed me. Again, this is not me being like positive on stuff. I'm going to
Yeah.
keep reinforcing this. This is me of years just thinking through. So back in the early 2000s, I would buy boxes of
Yeah.
basketball,
Yeah.
SPX and some other stuff with
Yeah.
Brian and break it
Mhm.
at home, open the
Yeah.
boxes, put stuff in sleeves, top loaders. And then I stopped doing that. I started running the math on things and understanding like if I focus in on the card that I want, I'm going to do better.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So That's why I started to buy graded cards myself. I didn't want to buy the raw cards because even though grading was cheap back in the day, I was thinking to myself, what if I get a 5 or a 6? Yeah, there may be times I may have hit a home run, and I have hit home runs. I've gotten PSA 10s of very scarce cards, but that is it's harder to get. So because a lot of the cards have damage if you're buying from an individual just selling on eBay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like to buy the card graded. Yeah, you pay more, but in my opinion, it was safer doing that as long as it's a real card. That's the only thing.
So now, what do you think of? Let's jump into. Let me hit some comments first. One
Yeah.
break through them all. Was Drake paid by Golden to break? That I do not know. I haven't heard any. Have you heard any information on that? I haven't heard any information on that. Stock market is long term thinking. The current sports card market is about the quick flip. But I will say, I'm just going to let people know, like when I'm collecting cards, I'm long term thinking.